Hello, welcome back to the BCS podcast. Now I actually have a good name for it. I know we were kind of talking about it last time. Week 2, but obviously week 5 in college football recap into week 6. We're starting to kind of get into the hang of things and the swing of things. So, bear with us here. We should have a major production overhaul value this weekend too, hopefully. But as of now, we're still on the Zoom. So
The
how was
Zoom.
everyone's weeks?
The Zoom.
Everybody's weeks went interesting, to say the least. A lot to recap, a lot to look forward to, especially with the big announcement today of the future schedules. We'll probably touch a little bit on that as well at some point.
And also the announcement today of Walter White being a professor at Michigan State.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Walter White, thank you for being at our school. We'll start like we always do, Big Ten review, and then we'll go into some top 25 look aheads and kind of go through the same platform we did last week. But we'll speed it up a little bit at the end. Instead of predictions for games and spreads, we'll do a little bit of talking about the next year's schedule. I think next year's schedule is a little interesting for some teams. Some easier than others. Some have a gauntlet, but that's going to be a key thing we can touch on today.
Absolutely.
I mean, some have a gauntlet. I mean, when you're the big two, you don't look at it like a gauntlet at all, ever. So,
yeah, no, I see it as a gauntlet, regardless.
Yeah, I think it's crazy.
Actually, your schedule is nuts next year.
Yeah, it's insane.
Our schedule
everyone
is like this year.
Yeah, I want everyone to keep the same energy they kept the past few seasons with Michigan playing nobody. Now we're playing everyone.
Everybody. From nobody to everybody.
I would just like to say I have never criticized Michigan for their schedule because Ohio State got criticized all the time for their schedule making. And like I said, one year we had Youngstown State, Akron, Washington, and Northwestern to open up our season. If you take the first letters, it's YAWN, it's yawn, was the start of our year. And it was unfortunate we scheduled Washington after the Rose Bowl. Same thing with Michigan. They scheduled UCLA, non-conference, and the Big Ten said, well, UCLA's coming to us, so drop the games. And they canceled it. So not Michigan's fault.
As of now, we're playing 4 of the top 10 teams next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get it started. Penn State.
Actually 5.
First game we can talk about. Penn State, slow start in the first half. I think they couldn't really get anything going. And then backdoor cover, it looked like they just turned everything up and went off in the second half.
Well, the way they did it was pretty interesting. I know it was a big thing on Twitter. Our guy TK was talking about it. They did run what appeared to be a fake knee for a touchdown as the game ended, which was pretty interesting. As Josh Pay has said multiple times, our guy over there knows the spread very, very well. He can never admit it or say anything about it, but Franklin knows what's going on.
Nope.
But as for the game itself, Aller once again under 200 yards, once again no multiple touchdowns, and once again Singleton and Allen had another time struggling to run the ball. I don't know.
Yeah. It's interesting each week. You never know what you're going to get, and I mean they're still rolling. We'll see a couple games coming up to see where they're at.
Are they rolling?
I mean, 41-13, they figured it out.
Yeah, but I mean, when you're
tied
playing
at the half at Northwestern,
when you're it's 10-10 at halftime, like that's not rolling. Hey, you know what? If this was Ohio State, people would have been up in arms, and they were last year when we just literally played in a 60-mile-an-hour like windstorm against Northwestern. Everyone was up in arms and like, oh man, this Buckeyes team is terrible. Like they're not going anywhere. And it's like Penn State gets a pass because Northwestern, honestly, I know they have more wins this year, but they might be worse. And they're in much more turmoil than they were last year. This is not a good team. It's not a good look when it's 10-10 at half. I mean, look, I get that you basically dominated in the second half and it was what it was. But, I mean, let's call a spade a spade. This was not a good win. This was not a good game. I mean, you had Northwestern ran a total of – I get your defense is amazing, but Northwestern in the third quarter ran a total of 11 plays.
Yeah.
11 plays. Like,
it's the clock thing. It's the clock
any
for
kind
sure.
of offense, they would have beat you. Same thing goes for Illinois. So there's a lot of question marks around Penn State. They're not invincible like everyone thought
Yeah.
they were for the whole year.
Yeah, 5.7 yards per throw for Drew Aller, QBR of 40, and then they averaged 3.4 yards on the ground. Like against again a competent offense, that's not going to fly. Granted, we kind of saw a similar thing week 1 with Ohio State, where it's like, look at how bad they're playing. They played someone with the pulse, blah blah blah, and they obviously figured it out. But
Yeah.
it could be a bit of Penn State looking ahead because they've got Northwestern, bye week, UMass, Ohio
Yeah.
State.
Yeah, it's very interesting middle of the year schedule. But
you know, we've always said they're like a weird kind of team out there. Penn State, they're always the redheaded stepchild of the Big Ten. They were never like an original member. They're pulling the SEC card. We're playing UMass the week before you play your biggest game of the year, or in Vegas, or whatever you want to call it. It's one of the big 2 you play every year, and you're playing UMass in the middle of October. I get it's not the middle of November, but join the SEC, and by the way, they're just like every other SEC school. They use a bunch of pom-poms.
All right. Well, the next one,
I think not.
Yeah. The next one, Minnesota 35-24 over UL. I think that's Lafayette.
Yeah, the Raging
right?
Cajuns.
The Raging Cajuns.
The Raging Cajuns.
The same thing that's been happening all year with Minnesota. Their run game is very, very good so far.
We're losing at halftime.
Yeah, their run game keeps being the story of the season, which is very nice for them. That's kind of how they've been winning games, and it just keeps rolling. I think
they're an average. They're very average, below average team in the Big Ten. They'll win 6-7 games, make it to a bowl game, and it's a coin flip when you get to a bowl game.
Yeah. All right. Next game, Michigan versus Nebraska. Blake. How do you feel?
Yeah. I mean, this game was. It was almost like someone told Michigan, just like they just read up on everything everyone's been saying, all this stuff. It was 95 degrees. It was 35-mile-per-hour hurricane winds. We had Roman Wilson had a David Tyree moment, little helmet catch over some guy. It kind of set the tone. After that, they just ran the ball down their throats. I mean, it was all Michigan all day. Once again, the other team scored on their last drive of the game to make it respectable. I mean, we had 4 quarterbacks play. JJ McCarthy hasn't played past the 5-minute mark of the third quarter yet this season. I mean, we're out here speed running teams right now. So, is it because these teams all suck? Probably. But I have never been more confident in a Michigan team than I am right now after how they've been playing so far. Because obviously it's been a bit like almost like they've been bored. It seems weird.
Yeah.
But they just absolutely eviscerated a really good run defense too, and he just ran it down their throat. So
yeah, absolutely.
I got to interject here. You said make it respectable. 45-7. I don't think anything's making that respectable.
You know what I mean? Just for because them scoring. Because if you take out the last drive of the game, Michigan's given up 3 points this year. So,
yeah.
Or 6, pardon me.
It's crazy. It's we'll see as it keeps going on when they play harder and harder tests.
I'll check back in end of November or middle of November.
Yeah, absolutely. Maryland 44-17 for the Hoosiers. Complete dominance from the start. Tallulah, I always botch that name. Tagovailoa.
Just say Tua.
Tua's brother, 352 yards and five touchdowns. A big day for him. Look, Maryland's a surprising team. I think people expected it, but
no. Hold on.
Every year this happens. Every single season.
Hey, a 5-0 start is a 5-0 start.
They're 4-1 or 5-0 every year. Then they play one of the big 3 and get murdered.
Exactly.
Yes.
And by the way, this is going to be the test this week. I watched their game against Indiana this past weekend because I knew we were playing them. I think Felton's pretty good. I think Jones is pretty good.
Hemby's serviceable.
Yeah. I mean, some of these they're okay. They have no run game. They literally have no run game. They are very dependent on just throwing the ball and tossing the ball around. And right now, it's a good test for Ohio State because our defensive backs are pretty damn good, I think, so far. And it's really going to be a test. If we shut them down, I'll be shocked, though, because I think Maryland's going to put points on the board. But guess what? They still have no defense.
Yeah.
Again.
I mean,
put the ball in play. I mean, it could be easily a turnover, pick 6, suck the life out of the game, and it could get over ugly quick. I mean, I think you guys handle them, no questions asked.
Yeah,
So
and I think they might cover late. It's a 20.5 point spread. They might cover late. I think it's going to be like around a 21-point game in the fourth quarter, and they score a touchdown late or something to make it like a 14-point game. I'm not impressed by Maryland, especially look, it's Indiana, and I know everyone can point to Indiana and say, "Oh man, Ohio State only beat them 23-3," and Indiana did score. I mean, Indiana did score 2 late touchdowns, so it's not like this was like even a question mark of a game. I mean, it was 37-10 at one point. So I'm just going to say, actually, it was 37-3 at one point. But look, Indiana does this every year. They start out 4-0, 5-0. They go play Michigan. They go play Ohio State. I mean, they gave Michigan a scare last year. They kept it competitive for 3.5 quarters, and then Michigan scored 2 touchdowns late. That could happen again this week. I'm never going to be convinced that they're ever going to be able to beat the likes of Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan. Now, with that being said, if they're in the West, they probably win the West this year.
Oh yeah, they probably won the West last year too. Seriously.
Yeah, I mean, they are the Big Ten 4. There's literally top 4 teams are all in one division in the Big Ten. It kind of reminds me right now of the old Big 12 in the Big Ten. Like the old Big 12 had Oklahoma, Texas, Oklahoma State, Texas Tech that one year that were just all 4 of them were in the top like 15, and the other side was Nebraska going 6-6 and making the championship game.
I mean,
and then the others won.
If they end up losing to the Big 3 and have a 9-3 season and win a bowl game, I would say that's respectable.
I mean, okay, you're talking about them going 9-3 and going to what? The Citrus Bowl or what's
like the Outback Bowl, something like that.
Well, it's renamed this year. It's something else. It's something new. It's like, but it's still in the same stadium. It's another different bowl. Whatever it is, you win that. You beat an SEC program, 9-3, then you finish 10-3. That's a successful year at Maryland. That's like the ceiling at this moment for them.
Yeah.
And until they have no run game, and that O-line is so bad. Indiana was kind of tearing them up.
Josh Gaddis.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Next game, Purdue 44, Illinois 19. I don't know what happened to Illinois, but they just had the worst. It's just horrible.
They have 2 interior defensive linemen, and that's their whole team. They have no offense. Hey, guess what? If they have an offense, they beat Penn State earlier this year.
Yeah, they are struggling this year.
You let your old D coordinator just come in and kill you.
Just demolish you.
Yeah, it's a mess. It's a mess. They're a mess right now. Next game, Wagner, Rutgers, 52-3. Not much to talk about there. It's just kind of a roll.
I'm actually going to make a crazy wild take here. I actually think Rutgers may end up finishing better than Maryland.
Interesting.
I just recorded my video on my picks for this week. I have Rutgers easily covering 13.5 this week against what's it called? Wisconsin.
Oh,
I am with you. I think Rutgers is a good team. I know it's funny because they're like a punchline, and it's not me trying to say this because we played them and it helps my strength of schedule argument, but they're a solid team.
Next game, Ohio State on the bye week, automatically a win. Not much to talk about there. Cozy, I don't know if you want to touch up on anything this week.
Yeah, I will say one thing. Chip Trainum is him. And what an amazing touchdown. And so proud of Kyle McCord just running over to the Notre Dame fans and just throwing it in their face. I'm living 2 weeks in a row. Better. You know what was so great? We won 1 week, and I got to just sit back and think about we beat Notre Dame again. We beat Notre Dame again for a whole another week. And now here comes Maryland. And I'm excited. It's and of course it's raining here. Gonna rain here today, tomorrow. It's homecoming parade, of course. Always tradition in Columbus. It always rains on the homecoming parade. So I think probably there's been 2 times in the past like 26 years that it has not rained on the day of the homecoming parade. So fun fact there. So yeah, if you want to plan your nice weekend out in Columbus, don't do it on homecoming weekend. Just say that. But no, the one thing I am full looking forward to, it's supposed to be a high of 56 on Saturday. Man, fall is here. we had made it false here.
It's a late fall, but the last game of the day we're gonna touch.
Let's get negative.
The nightcap. We're getting
okay.
negative.
Here we go. Here we go.
It is. I don't know how to put this into words other than it is embarrassing to the fact that we have gone 10 quarters now with one offensive touchdown. It is one of the biggest messes I've seen in a long time. It makes last season look like successful. The team just at certain moments just don't look organized at all. And it's hard for everything that's happened situation. It's nothing on the players. It's just what they've had to deal with and stuff. It keeps carrying over. But 13 unanswered points in the fourth quarter to Iowa with their backup quarterback. It just kind of is painful to watch. We had the game in our hands and we just let it slip. So the final score 26-16. Again, it started off looking promising. It looked like we could run away with the game, and we let them back in the game at a couple moments. A 4th and 1 on their own 30, and we didn't get it. I would have elected to punt in situations like that, especially with their backup quarterback in, who was kind of struggling all night to get some reads. The wide receivers had many drops, and I think there was if you ran the game back a couple more times, I think we win. But unfortunately, it just wasn't the day. Their punt returner took 170 yards to the house, and
Cooper DeJean,
and
baby.
That was it. Cooper DeJean. But you got to give Iowa the respect. Prayers to Cade. Hopefully he recovers well. I mean, hopefully he's not too hurt for a good long time. Hopefully he can recover and do something. I don't know, next year. I don't know. I don't think he has any more eligibility.
I heard a nasty rumor that people were spreading that might be in Cozy's fan base that he's going to transfer back to Michigan next year.
Oh no, that'd be interesting to say the least. But yeah, just a rough game. There's not much else to happen,
but okay.
Yeah, it was a rough game.
I mean,
your defense played well.
The defense,
Nate Carter's good. Yeah. Is it time to make a switch at quarterback? What do you think?
I think after 3 interceptions in one game, I think it's time to make the switch. If I was the coach, which I'm not, I would have made an adjustment at halftime of the game.
You might be more qualified than what they got right now, man.
Yeah, just halftime would have been a good idea, but I think it's time to switch it up. We're on a bye week this week, which is nice because people can rest up. But I mean, after last week, it's going to be tough to recover, especially starting off 2-3 with the gauntlet of the schedule left.
I mean, I really think that you guys really need to throw in Jesse Pinkman at quarterback. I think he'd be a suitable factor there for you guys.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just there's great moments and then there's very bad moments where it's like, what are we doing? I think there's some good moments and good players that going forward could be very successful, especially like you said, Nathan Carter, with how young he is. I think he can be very successful in the future. It's just there's some issues that need to be changed now.
It is really weird though, because these kids have the most perfect golden opportunity of their careers to go wherever they wanted to right now. And I don't think anyone really has, other than like one or two guys.
No,
which is interesting because it's like it almost shows that maybe the culture is good. I don't know. Then just the head coach is just doing his thing.
Well, the policy is they don't get to play this year. So if you transfer anywhere, you don't get to play. You have to sit out the rest of the year.
Okay.
So
now they will get to transfer after the season, but I'm not going to sit here and say the culture isn't that good because I think Mel Tucker actually was building something in Michigan State, and I think the wheels just kind of fell off after he had a few good seasons. It wasn't anything necessarily towards him. It's just right now he is in a situation where what was Michigan State? Were they the third best team in the Big Ten? They got leaped by Penn State. Then they were the 4th best team, and it was a slow decline. You're also not winning any recruiting battles against the likes of Ryan Day or Jim Harbaugh right now. You weren't getting any top-tier wide receivers. You weren't getting any top-tier defensive backs. You weren't getting any safeties. You were losing linebacker commits. Your recruiting just wasn't there, and that's the thing that it was all about. It was is you just couldn't keep on par with Ohio State's, Michigan's, Penn State's. It's nothing that your program was that terribly bad about. And I think it came down to you lost a few close games last year, and it really swayed the whole momentum and started questioning Mel Tucker.
Yeah, I think if we made a bowl game last year, we would be in a different situation, even with what's going on. I think if we would have won 7 games or so, there was a couple winnable games last year, especially. If we would have made a bowl game, I think that would have been a lot more okay to the commits and the recruits that, okay, they're actually still somewhere. We could go up or we could go down from here, but we're still in a good spot. And I think that I don't want to put this out into the air too early, but I think that we may see an overhaul of the program again, which unfortunate after 4 years, but we'll see what happens at the end of the year. I'm not really talking about the coaching stuff until the off season because I don't have as much information, and the athletic director already came out and said we're going to try to keep this as private as possible to get the best people and interview the best people we can and see what goes from there. So
I mean, you're one full, like not even 2 full seasons. You're 1 and like a half season removed from what you were as 8-0 going to Purdue undefeated.
Yeah.
Like this is not something that like just changed overnight. They beat Michigan that year. They came into the Horseshoe that year with a chance to essentially lock up the East Division.
Yeah.
Like if they would have beat us that day, and I mean, I trust me, I know things didn't go well in that game. I mean, that was just an absolute nightmare for you guys. I mean, 28-0 at the end of the first quarter, 49-0 time, like that. That was worst case scenario. And it's almost like that game like spun into the next season as a hangover kind of thing. And it was like, I mean, yeah, you went to the bowl game, but you played Pitt. And no offense.
No Kenny Pickett, Pitt.
Yeah, no Kenny Pickett.
Well, I mean,
no Kenny.
Granted, no K9 either. So I mean,
so it was kind of a even out.
Yeah, and I think it's time for a quarterback change. I think there's going to be obviously an overhaul. It's a very look, Michigan State's at a very, very crucial period right now. You do not want to fall into the likes of a Purdue, Illinois, Northwestern, Indiana,
Maryland.
Maryland. Yes,
I think want to do that. I think the thing is it could either be a hit or miss, and if it hits, I mean, you have to look at what's happening next season. 3 quarterbacks out of the 4 are leaving that were in the Pac-12, soon to be Big Ten. Michigan's going to have a little bit of a loss at some positions. I mean, it would be like kind of the perfect opportunity to bring in the right person and have a chance to actually get it figured out, I think. To more where it's respectable, 8 wins back to 8-7, 8 wins type thing, where it'd be a little more respectable.
I could definitely see that. I mean, trust me, I was flipping back and forth with that game last week. There was obviously Duke and Notre Dame were playing at the same time.
Yeah.
So I was kind of flipping back and forth, and Zach, I immediately thought of you. I was watching the game, it was 16-16, and I saw the punt go up, and I saw the guy get the return and the missed tackle, and I'm just like, oh, he's probably throwing his phone against the wall. He's probably screaming, yelling.
Yeah, I was so over the day because I had a bowling tournament all day. I was like, I just want to go to bed. I'm over this.
Hey,
I'm done.
Credit Michigan State Snoopy. It was 16-16. He said Michigan State's going to find a way to lose this game by double digits in the middle of the fourth quarter. And we're like, how?
He was right. They did.
Yeah,
I remember seeing that, and I was like, man, he has this spot on. He knows. And I even kind of like thought, man, you're super negative. But at the same time, like, that's the point of like Michigan State's program right now. It's like, you're at that point where you can be negative about your program and you kind of laugh it off a little bit, but like you still care and you're still going to go to the
hockey and basketball start this month. Let's go.
Yeah, I was going to say, congratulations. We have
Men's Midnight Madness.
Congratulations.
In a week from today. And the first hockey game on this Saturday is already sold out, even standing room only. So it's exciting.
Michigan's bringing in Providence. That's going to be a good game.
Yeah, we're playing Lake State, so that'll be good. All right. Next topic, looking ahead, Nebraska, Illinois on Friday. That's going to be the first game.
Well, did you see the story what happened last night?
Yeah, with the fire.
The stadium was on fire.
Yeah. The stadium's on fire. That means we're gonna get points.
Yeah, man. Listen. I don't think there'll be many points in that game. It could be one of the sloppiest, ugliest games of all time. I was circling this on the calendar along with my good friend Big Chap. We were hoping it was going to be Jeff Sims versus Luke Altmaier, and you could get like 6 combined turnovers, and it'd be an ultimate sickos committee game. But it seems like they're going with that backup, who was not very good either. So
yeah, no, they
42 and a half is the over under. I might take the under. Yeah, like it's going to be so sloppy, so bad.
The only points on fire.
I'm pretty sure that it's supposed to rain in Champaign too, so that'll be even better.
49 degrees, it says too.
Oh well, yeah. You know what?
Guys, give me a little sleep. Let's get ugly.
Yeah.
Illinois might have the worst offense in the Big Ten, and that's saying a lot. Yeah. Because you also have Iowa in the same conference.
Altmaier, 5 touchdowns, 7 picks. Woo!
Yeah.
Yeah. Illinois is really, really bad. 5 touchdowns, 7 picks.
And
they're favorites. That tells you all you need to know.
Yeah. So we'll come back around to the 2 main games because you guys are both playing next week. But we'll just go through the next couple. Rutgers, Wisconsin. Like you said, you think Rutgers is going to cover that.
I think Rutgers will be leading in the 4th quarter, and Wisconsin will come back at the end because of Mordecai's experience. But I think Rutgers you're gonna get that little notification because the game's on Peacock. No one's gonna be watching it unless you have like a family member on the team or in the stadium jumping around. But, you'll get a little notification. Upset alert, Rutgers. It's like, whoa, Rutgers 5-1, 5-1.
Yeah. So next game, Northwestern and Howard. It's just kind of another
Northwestern's to 500, huh? Holy
conference. Yeah, 3-3 Northwestern.
$4 if you want to go have some fun. $4.
Yeah, Iowa versus Purdue. It should be an interesting game. It might be the lowest scoring game of the week. Hudson Card.
I kind of love Iowa.
Today has 5 or 6 fumbles this year, so that's crazy. They have like 12 or something, or some crazy number combined. I don't know exactly what it is, but should be an interesting game. Backup quarterback versus Hudson Card.
I like Iowa a lot.
Yeah.
I think Iowa. Yeah, I mean, it just pure talent standpoint. Like Iowa's defense, like we saw what they did against kind of an okay offense. I'm being generous, Zach.
Yeah, there's not really I wouldn't even say
perfect Peacock game too, by the way.
Yeah, Eric All anytime touchdown is my.
I mean, again, let me tell you, Peacock really they really keep lucking out because there's not going to be a lot of people who watch these games, but like these are just games that like no one really even cares about. I'm sorry,
the sicko games.
I'm surprised Howard's not on there.
Yeah.
Next,
I can't believe that they put Northwestern and Howard on the Big Ten Network and not on like Peacock. Peacock had to be like, yeah, we just don't want this game, and Big Ten was like, fine, we'll take it. Like that had to be the discussion.
A small little slate this week. No Penn State either. They're on a bye as well as Michigan State. Ohio State, Maryland at noon on Fox. The battle of the undefeateds. Cozy. What do we got?
I know we're on YouTube and I can't swear, but I'd love to swear.
Fine. Yeah, you can swear.
I'd love to say fuck Fox.
I don't know if that's the right thing.
Stop putting us on Big Noon Kickoff. I don't care about ratings. We're gonna get ratings no matter where we play, no matter what time we play at. There should be 1 game a year guaranteed. Ohio State at noon. Actually, two. The home opener should always be at noon. It's Ohio State tradition. And Michigan, Ohio State should be at noon. Every other game should be a 4 o'clock, 3:30, or 7:30 game for Ohio State. We will dominate the ratings. And we'll trust me, when October 21st, that week rolls around, we'll talk about Penn State, Ohio State at noon and how the SEC didn't choose that because they wanted Alabama, Tennessee for one last time. I get it. Mm-hmm. But stop with your big noon kickoff. Fans don't like it. Your TV ratings are not that much better. And, I mean, I'll just say this. When we come down to the X's and O's, the game, I think we're going to see – I really want to see what Kyle McCord's like after a bye week, after a huge win, after the emotion that poured out on that field 2 weeks ago. I really think that this brought this Buckeye team together. There was a lot of questions. A lot of people doubted Ohio State. A lot of people doubted Ohio State going to Notre Dame, and now you're hearing the narrative, well, it's Notre Dame. They always blow a big game. They never beat a good team. Well, guess what Notre Dame did last week?
They
Notre
beat
Dame,
Duke.
They beat Duke. They beat a good Duke team.
Yeah.
Backup quarterback.
Absolutely. Oh, here we go with the backup quarterback.
He got hurt.
What, in the fourth quarter?
Yes, Riley Leonard got hurt, man.
I heard of the last game. So Notre Dame finally had a come from behind win, and guess why? They actually have a quarterback. I really want to see what step forward Kyle McCord does this week against Maryland. You're really going to see that because this Maryland defense actually has some NFL talent on it. Now, they can't run the ball. They have no offensive line. I think our defensive line is going to tear it up. I think the linebackers are going to tear it up. I think our safeties and cornerbacks, I'm not worried about our backfield.
So every single position on the defense.
I think that there will be 2 touchdowns at least by Maryland minimum. That's minimum. They're going to put up points. They're going to put up yards. But I really think that Kyle McCord takes a step forward. He's going to start finding the open receivers. Like I said, he had a back shoulder throw to Marvin Harrison that was on the money, except Marv had lost a step because he got hurt.
That is a good question. Is Marv back to 100%?
Exactly. Is Marv back to 100%? Everyone I've been talking to says he's fine, which the way his ankle looked on that play where he got rolled up on, it looked like Nick Chubb 2.0. And I'm going to tell you what, it was great to see how we won. Once again, this is now the heart of the schedule. We have no more bye weeks, and we start Big Ten play, and we got 8 in a row. So have at it. I mean, it's going to be a long Big Ten schedule. It's a lot of bumps in the road, but I think it's very manageable and take one at a time. This Maryland team is not just going to come in here and lay down, but what can I say? Let's act like Mario and jump on the turtle.
Absolutely. And then the nightcap, Michigan, they are playing at Minnesota.
Yep. The world's oldest trophy, the little brown jug that almost no one really knows about. We've got a lot going on in the game.
Can we take a quick time out here? I'd like to give a quick shout out to a Little Brown Jug Bar. What a great bar in Ann Arbor.
Yeah. But yeah,
no, it actually is. I'm being serious.
Well, that's where Harbaugh got in trouble.
He gave an Ann Arbor place a compliment.
That's where Harbaugh got his suspension. I didn't know what he was doing.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I honestly didn't know that. Oh, wow. Shit.
I
wasn't trying to be sarcastic.
I was like, that was pretty slick. I like that.
Yeah, that almost worked.
It's great. Now I know.
Should have just went with it. It would have been perfect.
So yeah, with this game, I mean, it's going to be a classic Michigan game that we've had this year. It's going to be snooze fest, boring for everyone involved. I mean, when you get a 3-touchdown favorite and the total is only 46, I mean, Michigan this year, when you look at their scores, it's kind of like rinse and repeat. Michigan will be in like the high 30s, low 40s, and the team will be below 7. I'd expect the same thing because, they try to rely on their run game, which is going to be pretty fun against our defense. So
yeah,
I'm going to guess, I don't know, they're going to score 7 points in the fourth quarter. They'll get their touchdown, and Michigan will. What number do we want to choose this week? I'm feeling
somewhere
38.
Between 30 and 50.
I'm feeling 38-7. That's my feel.
Okay.
But yeah, it's gonna be a snooze fest, boring. JJ will make a few sexy NFL throws. Corum will get in the end zone at least once, if not twice. Rinse and repeat. And listen, there's not much to go off of, but the main takeaway is it'll be our first night game on NBC, and based on that schedule that just released, I'm sure we'll have plenty of those going forward.
Yeah. So let's look ahead to next week. Couple key games in the top 25. The first one in the 12 o'clock slot, the Red River rivalry.
Shootout.
Oklahoma.
We don't say rivalry around here.
Okay. Red River shootout.
Thank
Oklahoma
you.
versus Texas. What do we think? What do we like?
Ooh, I like Texas by a lot again. A lot.
I concur.
I think I'm in the same boat.
I'm thinking I think it's 21 plus.
I'm going to be taking and betting Oklahoma, but I think Texas kills them, if that makes any sense.
I think Texas is for real, and they are going to prove it this week. I think this is the big test. Everybody's still question marking the team for some reason. I don't understand why, but I think this is the big test. And if they come away with a win and a great win, I think we might see a question and a few more points in the first place slot of the AP poll next week. It might be a little interesting.
Well, my preseason projections are planning out pretty well, and I still have my prediction for the Big 12 being Texas goes 12-0 and loses to an 11-1 Oklahoma in the SEC champion or the SEC championship game. That's next year.
Next year
in the Big 12 championship game, and Oklahoma sneaks in the playoff backdoor over Texas because Texas's back would not be a proper meltdown if they lost now. Now, they're not enough hope yet. If they got to be undefeated, beating their chests to have the full-fledged meltdown.
And by the way, you do know if that happens for a rematch, it's going to be an absolute like dog walking by Oklahoma. Like it's going to be,
it'll be the opposite way.
It's going to be like a 14-0 Texas lead, and then the final will be 42-14 Oklahoma. Just comes back and goes nuts.
Yeah, next game, LSU Missouri. I think the spread isn't telling exactly what's going to happen in this game in my eyes. A lot of people are a little high on Missouri, but I think LSU wins this pretty reasonably. I think they win by double digits.
I actually have a hot take here. I think Mizzou pulls the upset / whatever you want to call it. I think LSU is way overrated. I think they are not a good team. They have no defense at all. And you know where they get dominated at? They get dominated in the trenches a lot. Yeah. And Missouri's pretty good in the trenches. So I almost, man, I really like Mizzou, to be honest with you. I mean, that's just me. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm off base. But Mizzou, like, they somewhat like to run the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brady Cook is healthy again. They've got Lynn Burden. The kid's unbelievable, the receiver. I think it's going to be a track meet. I mean, 65 is kind of what the game was at for last week when they played Ole Miss, and that game went to, I think the total ended up being 100 and something.
Yeah, 110 or 120.
I think the over is an easy play here. And I think that what does LSU really play for? They got a lot of guys in the portal. A lot of guys looking forward to the NFL already. I mean, Jaden Daniels, that dude gets killed every game. He's an unbelievable quarterback, but he has a highlight reel, him getting blown up every single play. It's eventually going to catch up to him. And again, the way that Kelly it's almost like he's lost a locker room. He just keeps throwing the kids under the bus again. No pun intended. And I don't know, man. Like, I think Mizzou here it'd be a good story. It would be really funny for the SEC to have it a 6-0 Mizzou when they play Georgia in like a week or two.
Next game. You got something else?
Yeah, I do got something else. When they play Georgia, if they're undefeated, do you know how high they're going to be ranked? They're going to be ranked like 10th in the country.
Yeah.
We can actually talk about that real quick. They're actually going to rank 1 to 133 going forward now in the AP poll, which is what they said after Kirby Smart said all SEC teams should be ranked.
Yeah, all SEC teams should be ranked.
Yeah, we could touch on that real briefly because there's a certain team that's 5-0 from our conference that is not ranked, and that is Maryland. And I think it's pathetic.
No, I
think they should be
kind of shows
25 slot.
That shows the national media is kind of out on Ohio State because in years past, you guys would have had the free ranked win, the 25 Maryland come in for 1 week, get their shit kicked in, and then go back to the abyss.
Did you guys get Maryland at 4-0 last year and they were ranked? If I'm wrong,
they played good.
They played good this year. Come on.
Okay, you know how I know that you just told a complete lie is because your voice like influx went up. It was like they played good.
The next game, kind of one of my favorite games of the day. Should be interesting. Washington State versus UCLA. What do we think? What do we like?
All over Wazoo. I think Wazoo is the team that is like the TCU from last year, where they came out of nowhere. I think that they are playing great. Cam Ward is the real deal. I'm all over Wazoo. I love Wazoo. I love watching this team play too. I think they're kind of a little bit on the more exciting side of stuff. Actually, you know what? Pac-12 football is must-see TV at this moment. And also, here's the thing. It's in the Rose Bowl. Look, I don't care who you are. If you grew up in the Pac-12 or a Big Ten fan, you sat down every single New Year's Eve or New Year's Day and watched the Rose Bowl. You were Midwest, West Coast, whatever. You watched the Rose Bowl. Hell, people in the South watched the Rose Bowl because there was no other bowl game going on. It was always Rose Bowl in the afternoon, and then you swung into the night shift of the SEC versus ACC in the Sugar Bowl. Like it was always one of those things, and it was always exciting. That was always your New Year's Day tradition. You can't tell me that there's some Wazoo players who are going to play in the Rose Bowl, and they're like, "Oh, this is so cool, man! We get to play in the Rose Bowl." Like, I don't know if they played there 2 years ago. I have no idea. I didn't take a look at their schedule, but hey, you know what? A lot of these players probably didn't get to play in that game if they did play. So, hey, I like Wazoo a lot. I'm taking money line Wazoo this week. I think that they are. I'm going to say it right now. I think it might be an undefeated Apple Cup this year at the end of the year. Washington versus Washington State. And that'll be the best thing for the Pac-12.
I'm in the same boat. I think Wazoo pulls the upset. It's not really an upset, but they're not favored. I think they go in there. Dante Moore gets a little rattled early, and they go up, I don't know, a couple points, and they just roll from there. I think they're going to have a lead, and Dante Moore can't catch up with his offense. I think he's just still learning the offense at this point.
You guys are saying the obvious parts out loud. I'm surprised you're not hearing it. You're telling me the 13th team in the country has to upset the team that played like crap against a third-string quarterback, and with a rookie quarterback or a freshman guy, it's just like his second career start, and they're favored at home. UCLA murders Wazoo in the beginning of the Pac-12, eating themselves alive.
Man, here we go. Man, this is
that's going to be an interesting one.
Wow.
That'll be
just wait for my Snapchats.
Also shout out to the media for ruining this game, putting it on the Pac-12 network. They really have to just.
Cozy saying it's Cozy. You're saying it's such must-see TV that it's on the Pac-12 network.
Yeah, it's on the Pac-12 network. Next game.
I'm not wrong about the Pac-12. That's all I'm saying.
The big 3:30 game at the wonderful Kyle Field, Texas A&M hosts Alabama, and I think this is more interesting than people think. I've heard some rumors that Mr. Milroe had a couple injuries. I don't know if he's fully recovered, but people have told me that he got a little hamstring injury this week. It should be an interesting game. I know the spread's very, very little, 1 point or so. But somebody told me that had moved from almost 5 or 6 points down to 1, which is a little concerning. So what do we think? What do we like?
So I really want to go with Texas A&M because I think Alabama is just not good. But there's just something. There's just what?
I can help if you want. So depending on your book, you can get Alabama at +1 right now. It's kind of it's a pick 'em right now. ESPN says -1, but like FanDuel, it's a pick 'em. Since 2009, Alabama has been favored in 183 out of 186 games. In those 3 games as an underdog, most recently when they played Georgia in the SEC championship game, they have won all those games by double digits. Just putting it out there.
Alabama by double digits is what Blake's pick is.
That is exactly what I'm taking.
Yeah.
But they're not an underdog right now, according to Vegas.
This is a legacy game for Saban. Line in the sand. They could be eliminated the first week of October from championship contention, which would be insane.
And they could be real like spoiler for the rest of the SEC because they have the talent there. If they lose this game and then went out and go to the SEC title game, they could honestly knock the whole conference out.
And that's what I've been saying to people the whole time is if you look at the way you can get value, if you're looking at it from the gambling side of things, Alabama is +300 right now to win the SEC. And if you think that they're going to win this game, which is their hardest game left, and it's not close, and they play LSU at home, but you're at home, right?
Yeah.
You sprinkle a bit on +300, and because I'll tell you right now, it'll be less than +300 when they're playing Georgia.
If you like Texas A&M, there is a division bet plus 250 right now for Texas A&M to win the division. I feel like if they win this game, they should be in the driver's seat to win the division unless something crazy happens.
They still
I
got a
would
lot
say
of
that's
games, man. Their
that's a fair
schedule's
bet to
tough.
sprinkle as well. Yeah.
They got at
I'm gonna
Kentucky,
say,
at Tennessee next week. Then they got at
yeah.
LSU, and I think they still have at Ole Miss as well.
I'm not going to pick a side in this game. I'm going to take the over. I'm going to take points. I like points in this game. I think that the defenses are a little suspect compared to in the past. I know that Texas A&M went into a shootout with Miami. I think it could be another shootout again. I think we're going to see 70 points, probably like a 40 to 30 game or something crazy, 42-30.
Yeah.
I think that could be.
Man, I really want to take Texas A&M. I'm not going
to
lie.
Next big game, Kentucky versus Georgia. The spread's 14.5. From what I've heard, people want to take Kentucky to cover.
Cover. It's going to be 14.
I'm taking Georgia to roll. After last week, after what happened, I think they're at home. They are gonna roll. They are just gonna come out and show why they are considerably the best team in the country right now.
Georgia's on fraud watch. Okay, they have no run defense, and they're playing Ray Davis, who had unbelievable thing last year. Yep. So why is it 14.5? Because they're gonna kill him. Brock Bowers will be unguardable again.
Yep.
Listen, I'm rooting for Kentucky. Go Wildcats, but I
think they're
Georgia's gonna need juice. They got to kill him.
Yeah, and then the last game we'll talk about Notre Dame Louisville. A nice ranked matchup to cap the night, 7:30 on ABC. The spread is about 6.5 points for Notre Dame. I think this is another game where Notre Dame can show that they're legit compared to other seasons with the quarterback. I think they win by probably somewhere in the range of 7 to 10. I would say.
I actually can't agree with that. I think it's going to be another nail biter. I think it's going to be another tight game. Where they find a way to win because they have an experienced quarterback. I think that they might cover. You know what? I can agree with the 7 point. I don't know about a 2-score game. I think that it's like tied late in the fourth quarter. I think they pull it out. I will say this. If anyone's ever watched a Louisville game, and I'm sure both of you have before, it can get quite intimidating in that stadium when that place is rocking.
Yeah,
pretty sure it's going to be a sellout. Pretty sure there's going to be a decent amount of Notre Dame fans there. But when it gets rocking, Louisville fans will bring it, and they're pretty loud. So it'll be interesting for sure.
Key stat to watch for this game: Jake Plummer 6 interceptions on the season so far. If Notre Dame had one opportunity against Ohio State in the game to capitalize, it was interceptions that they barely dropped. I think if they get 1 or 2 turnovers, they could pull away.
I got two quick stats in this game, and then it's one for each team. Notre Dame has lost 0 conference games against the ACC since COVID when they joined that deal. Yeah, I know they lost to Clemson in the championship game, but in the regular season play, they've never lost an ACC team. On the other hand, who is the head coach of Louisville, and what is his favorite thing to do? Kill top 10 teams.
Yep.
So I think it's going to be close. I like the under. And I like Louisville plus 6.5, but I think Notre Dame wins. So you can get all 3 of those. You probably get like a 5-1 little same game parlay action.
It's absolutely funny. It's funny. Like I saw what you did there. It's okay. We understand. Luckily, you didn't have to play him.
I don't even think he was a coach when he beat you, was he?
One more thing, top 25 real quick. Top 25. The top 7 haven't really moved at all. Kind of some movement in the middle pack. The big jump is Kentucky coming from not ranked to being number 20 now.
I wonder why that is.
Yeah, and then the strange thing is, it's gonna be interesting. Utah dropping 8 spots, but that was given after their loss. I'm still a little confused. I hope Cam Rising plays this season, but I have a feeling he might just be kind of sitting out. And
he's saving his eligibility to transfer to Michigan next year.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see when that happens. That'd be interesting. That'd be really interesting, actually.
Can you think of a more Harbaugh guy? Let's be honest.
Yeah, no. The big news of the day, conference realignment. They finally came out with the schedules for most of the team, for all the teams actually, for 24 through 28. Not correct. 24 through 28.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yep.
So 24 through 28.
Which I'll say. I was just going to say, I don't think that we're going to get conference realignment anymore. Like we're done adding teams.
I think that was.
We
like
said
that.
that at this time last year. They're going to redo the schedule this offseason for when Florida State and Clemson join.
Yeah, I don't know. I think this is them trying to say that they're set by releasing this many years of schedules, but
We did it last
we never
year.
know. We never know.
We added
Yeah, but
we
that
had
was
4 years last year, and then we added two teams.
we had two. We had two. There's only 2 years of schedules.
Same thing.
Two compared
Yeah, it
to a
was
couple
only
more
2.
years.
Now this year we're doing 4.
So we're adding
Yeah.
4 teams.
We're doubling. We're doubling.
Oh, man.
4 teams, 4 schedules. That's how they make it work.
Actually, it's
we're
5
gonna do-
years. 5 years down the road. 5. Sorry, 5
Okay,
years
so
down the
5
road.
years. 4 teams,
5 years down the road.
So we'll add 2 more teams, and then we'll go like 10 years down the road. Yeah,
so I mean, if you want to go first, Blake, with your schedule, because holy crap, next year's schedule in Michigan.
Yeah,
especially
we'll start with the gauntlet, and we'll go progressively easier and easier to the Ohio State schedule.
So yeah, I mean, this is actually, and I know I'm referencing my guy Big Chap twice here now. The first game of the year is against Fresno, and if anyone knows anything about Fresno right now, they're ranked currently. They're odds.
Yep.
They're the second best odds outside of Georgia and Michigan to go undefeated this year in the regular season behind Texas. So they could find themselves in a New Year's Six bowl and then be playing Michigan. So you have that game, and then Michigan goes straight into Texas. Good old Texas. I couldn't even tell you off the top of my head who the other guy we're playing next year is. It's finally a bye game. I think it's a MAC school. I don't even know.
No, it's I'm trying to think. Go ahead.
Someone stupid. I don't even know. Thankfully, it's a win. And then we're going to go into our schedule here. We got Michigan State at home. We've got Minnesota at home. We've got Northwestern at home. Then away, we've got Illinois and Indiana. And then this is where it gets fun. It is the burden of Michigan. Obviously, we're playing Ohio State. Got to do that. Got to protect the rival. And then we have Washington away, which is great. And then Oregon and USC at home. So if you're looking at your top 10 standings right now, Michigan will be playing next season let's get the accurate list here, number 24 team, and then number 9, 8, 7, 5, and 4 and 3. Sorry. So there you go. That's 5 of the top 10 will be playing Michigan next season. So
it shall be interesting because Michigan loses their quarterback, most likely. Not 100% confirmed yet, but a lot of teams that are joining, like we said before, are losing their quarterback. So it should be an interesting matchup for the future.
Yeah, so we're gonna have let's see. Let me do my predictions here. We'll have Michigan will be having Cam Rising. Oregon will have Dante Moore. USC will have Malachi Nelson. Washington will have Malik Murphy. Ohio State will have Grayson McCall, and Texas will have Arch Manning.
Grayson McCall still in college.
Nah, his credits won't transfer from Coastal, but yeah, that's all I got really for the Michigan schedule. It's a bit of a juggernaut nightmare, but as a season ticket holder, the fact that I get Ohio State, you get Texas, Oregon, and USC at home. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be expensive for some people. I already said I'm not even gonna try to get to the Michigan State game because it'll probably be $400 just for the ticket. Honestly, it's gonna be insane.
Blake, you guys don't host teams 2 years in a row. You just try and skip a place to go.
Yeah, they just love skipping places.
Listen, all right.
All right, so we'll move to our schedule. It should be interesting. First game, Florida Atlantic. Second game, the Raging Cajuns. We get to play them after – who played them this year? I forget now. And then at Boston College, so that's going to be our out-of-conference. And then when we get into conference play, it's a little more interesting. The away games are Illinois, Maryland, Michigan, and Oregon, which I'm kind of excited to see the uniform combinations versus Oregon next year. It'll be pretty fun, especially when they come to East Lansing and us probably having more uniforms by the time they come in a couple of years. And then the home games, Indiana, Iowa, Ohio State, Purdue, and Rutgers. So not a too exciting of a home slate. I do like the Ohio State and the Iowa game. It should be interesting to see where Iowa goes from where they're at now. And Purdue, again, I want to win against Purdue really bad. So.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so now we're going to go to our easy cupcake schedule, as you guys all want to say, which I will agree that our non-conference next year is so bad. Like, I really want to know where and why this even happened.
Go Broncos.
We have Southern Miss, Western Michigan, and then Marshall. Look, I get that Marshall and Southern Miss are occasionally okay, but they're not. Can we can we please just stop scheduling these games? I know, look, I know that we're funding these other small schools. Great. Awesome. I'm so
That's
excited
my
for that.
company line. Philanthropic universities.
Yeah. But and then even next year, like our home schedule, man, Indiana, Iowa, Nebraska, Purdue, and then obviously Michigan. But it's like, really, that home schedule, man. I know it's 8 home games, but those are like 7 out of the 8 games. I'm just like, I'm almost kind of like looking at it going, man, I hope Iowa gets a really good quarterback in the transfer portal. I hope they fire Brian Ferentz and they get some kind of offensive system in there and they can actually provide like some competition. Then we go to Sparty, we go to Northwestern, and then we go to Eugene, which is my guess is they're basically saying, hey, COVID canceled your first trip to Eugene. We're sending you back out there the first time they join the conference, which is great. That's fine. I'm excited for it. I know I will be making the trip out to Eugene next year for sure. I'm excited to see Autzen Stadium. I'm excited to see Oregon and might make it into a just a trip out there to go camping, etc., for a week kind of thing. And then we go to Happy Valley, which I think everyone knows. Penn State put no one down as their rivals, and I'm pretty sure that Ohio State and Michigan both put Penn State down as their sacred. Let's keep these rivals. It's kind of unfortunate that Penn State didn't do that. Which, look, I get what it is. It's a new age. Penn State wanted to be cool and be like, we have no rivals. We're on a standalone island. Like, I'm sorry, Penn State, but at least you could have put like Maryland down.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, just at least put someone down.
Yeah, absolutely.
And here's the other thing. You all want to talk about, like, if it was up to your fan base, I know for a fact they would have put Ohio State down. They hate Ohio State, and they definitely would have put Michigan down. They hate Michigan even more than Ohio State. I'll just say this. I'm excited for next year with our schedule. I mean, I'm obviously not forgetting about this season. We're still undefeated. It's a very deep Big Ten. But man, did we really luck out. Now, granted, 2026 when it rolls around, or 2025 when it rolls around, I think 2026 we go to Southern Cal, and we also play Oregon, and we also play Michigan, and I'm pretty sure that we're at Texas too.
Yeah.
So
we can get more in depth in the offseason for sure on the next couple of years.
And here's the thing. I mean, looking ahead, we don't even go to the Rose Bowl until 2028 to play UCLA. We were supposed to play them in the original schedule this coming up here in 2024. I'm surprised that they didn't do something like a opening Big Ten weekend, welcome to the Big Ten, and have like Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan, and Wisconsin all play the newcomers and have it be like a big grand like thing. Now,
do week 0 and just totally take over.
Yeah,
exactly. Do week 0. Let you know what? And I would love to see USC at Michigan week 0 and Ohio State go to the Rose Bowl week 0.
It could be a soft launch, right? You can have it be like a fake out of conference game. It's like a soft launch into being a Big Ten one.
And guess what? If the SEC did that, do you know how they would be praising the SEC for the?
I reckon, we're out here in week 0. We're in the middle of August, and we're playing Ole Miss, Alabama.
It's 110 degrees. It's 110 degrees. What's going on?
So, look, I'm excited for it. It's a whole year away. There's still this year who knows when it's going to be, because as of right now, I can tell you September 14th, there's an open date on Ohio State's schedule. It's either going to be a bye week or a Big Ten game.
Yeah.
My guess is it's probably a Big Ten game, and our bye week's going to be in October. That's just a guess on my part. But
which would be smart of them to do, because
I mean, we're not deciding it. It's the Big Ten scheduling, so it's whenever they want to put it. It's also, obviously, with like Michigan's main games next year, Michigan doesn't play Penn State next year, which is like so intriguing to me.
Yeah, that's kind of sad.
Penn
And
State's
I-
best team of all time. We don't play them. I'm not fine in my book.
I
Oh,
know,
yeah.
and we have to go there, which I'm not gonna lie, man. If we win in 3 weeks and then we go there next year with their best team that they've ever had, and we
Yeah.
go into Happy Valley and give them their only loss.
Now, there was a theory out there. Now that there's so many better games to pick from, do they let it be a whiteout? You know what I mean? Because like normally Fox would steal it. What
Yeah,
if
that
it's
was the
Michigan
thing.
USC at the same week?
Yeah, if they put 2 marquee matchups in the same
You know?
week, hopefully they allow the whiteouts to happen in a bigger game.
Not gonna lie,
Couple
a 3:30 CBS
What
whiteout
is-
in like late October. Whoa.
Whew. It's gonna be dark
What
by
is
the end of the game. It'll be perfect.
No, Penn State would definitely, without a doubt. What is Penn State's schedule? I didn't even see theirs,
Yes. So there's a
They play UCLA. I know that.
and I know they play us, obviously.
they got Minnesota, Purdue, USC, Wisconsin, Illinois, Maryland, Ohio State, UCLA, and Washington. So they got 3 out of the 4 new teams and no Michigan State. So our
Do you
land
know
grant
how-
is done.
You know how excited Penn State football was at the conference scheduling? They didn't even tweet out the conference schedule on their own main account on Twitter. They
Michigan,
just
yeah,
ignored it.
is what they did. They basically what they did for us that we got Oregon and Washington. We lost UCLA, and then we got USC at home. We were going to be traveling to USC, which I was kind of looking forward to, but can wait till next year.
Stick.
I don't know. Have
So
you guys seen UCLA or what's it called? USC schedule for next year?
Yeah, it's interesting.
They're out of conference. I believe they have Notre Dame and LSU as 2 of their 3 conference games.
Yeah,
And
they
LSU
might
games in Vegas, so that'll be interesting.
Okay.
That'd be cool.
Malachi Nelson first start in Vegas against LSU. Good luck.
2 interceptions. Take the over. Whole lot of
Yeah, right.
points, not a lot of defense. So sick.
Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting next season. With all these new teams, I'm excited. I mean, it's just going to be one of those things where it's like we're having a rotating schedule, things like that. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm looking at it right now. Like we play Illinois in 2025, and then we don't play them again until 2028. And obviously, that wasn't. Oh, actually, do play them. We play them a bit, actually, much more than we have lately. So I looked at that wrong, but it's like you're going to just see like different teams, which, okay. So I love the fact that like we're rotating like Indiana, like thank God I'm not going to see Indiana every single year anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not going to see Rutgers every single year. I'm not going to see Maryland every single year. Like I like the fact that we're getting more teams and we're going to rotate because I can't do many more Rutgers games at home. I can't do many more Indiana games at home. Like, look, I get Indiana is Indiana and they give us trouble, but they also haven't beat us since like the late 80s. And then before that, they hadn't beat us since like the 40s. Like they've won a total of like 12 games when we played all time. We played them over 125 times. They've won 12 games. Stop having us play them. Thank you.
All right.
All
Well,
right.
yeah, that wraps up our conference
Yeah.
discussion, everything like that. Close with a good horns down, thinking of next year, preemptive horns down. But yeah, that's all we got.
We'll see a little bit more
Actually,
information in
this
the off
Saturday-
season, but
This Saturday, hook 'em
Yeah.
this Saturday.
yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah, thank
right.
you guys for
Okay,
watching
good.
or for sticking around, I guess, and watching the
Yeah.
podcast. And hey, we'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Yep.
See ya.